Hello, boys. For our guests, we're recording this after 1 month, I think. Rahul was too busy and then he became too sick and then he was traveling because बहुत अमीर आदमी है. हम लोग यहाँ से जॉर्जी के घर जाने में 100 रुपए पेट्रोल का सोचता हूँ. राहुल शिकागो से यूएसए चला गया डिज्नीलैंड. राहुल बताइए हाउस
न्यूयॉर्क चला गया वो.
न्यूयॉर्क गया
No,
सॉरी.
I went to Disney
और
World also. Is there? That's in Florida. So we did
फालतू का
Florida, New
फ्लेक्स
York,
मत
and
कर
New
फालतू
Jersey.
का फ्लेक्स मत कर फालतू.
Yeah,
कितना लगा खर्चा इंडियन रुपीस में? बता कितना खर्चा लगा.
60.
अच्छा बाप रे. जो 100 रुपए मेरा पेट्रोल कल तेरे घर आना है ना, मेरे को 100 रुपए
हाँ.
पेट्रोल का पैसा तू दे देना. ठीक है.
ठीक है.
But
ठीक है.
it's
डन.
not much over here, so it's okay. Yes.
Anyway, what's up, Rahul? How you doing?
I am
कैसा है?
doing very well, thank you. I had a good time, good trip with my friends.
Why does Rahul's background and his image look like that typical Zoom advertisement का होता है ना वीडियो कॉल एकदम shining background
Shining,
white
professional.
professional
Yeah, a little bit. You have to be.
ऐसा.
अब ये चिंटू साला राउंड नेक टी-शर्ट में प्रोफेशनल नहीं बनते लोग, ठीक है ना?
What are you saying, Mark Zuckerberg? What do you say? He wears the same gray T-shirt every day, like this only.
वो मार्क जकरबर्ग है.
हाँ, तो हम अपना आइडेंटिटी बना रहे हैं ना.
बना. और जो तू कैसा है?
स्टीव जॉब्स का था ना ब्लैक.
तू कैसा है जो?
हम है ठीक भाई.
ठीक है.
This is the catch-up call that Ishmi wanted to have. How are we? How is everybody doing? We are good.
I mean, no, we can get into the thing. We can get into details.
Happens after an hour. After we actually caught up, we're trying to record an episode which we are catching up. Yes.
So told you at the start,
go.
let's just switch it on and do catch up. We'll call it part 2. I can't abuse because my grandmom is walking here right
Makchodi part 2, which I don't know why is our most played episode.
Yeah, what nonsense. We've had some awesome episodes on what queer review, what so many things. Like कितना कुछ हम लोग किया और ये चल रहा है ऊपर.
But regardless, I think Georgie wants to talk about something interesting.
Yeah, we were initially going to talk about a particular topic, but for certain reasons, we will not discuss that topic.
Topic being sex education.
बोलना नहीं topic पूरा खुल के बोल.
Topic being pornography and sex education and how it affects our society and things like that. And we're leaving that discussion for a later day. Right now, we're building it up so that you also wait for it to be released one day. I don't know when that will come out. But the topic for today is, so we've had episodes on gender, on queer people, and sexuality and things of that sort. We've touched upon those topics. But one thing which really came up when I was thinking about this was how three of us ourselves also have figured out our respective gender identities and how we have our own lifestyles around those gender identities. With respect to, let's say, I identify as a male person. So this was definitely me being more born as a male, my sex being masculine, was also enforced down on me by society, saying that you have to do these things to live up to being a man, right? You have to, whatever they are, depends on which cultural background you come from. Let's say if you're listening to this from the US, you have a different background, but if you're listening to this from, let's say, someone in ETA and UP, you would have a different background. So that's how did you yourself, what did I, Joyjeev, do to identify myself and my gender identity as a male person? So how did I did certain things, and I don't think my definition of Joyjeev and my gender identity is the stereotypical manly version of
what it should be, or what people ideally think of it to be.
Yeah, ideally, or very in an Indian way think of a man to be. Yeah.
So before we get into it, like, I know we discussed this, can you talk more about the difference between sex, gender, and sexuality? Because I think a lot of people are not aware of this and should be aware of it, at least on a smaller scale.
Yes, now we have a lot of...
And for more detailed references to what Joe is going to say, you can listen to our episode, our queer friend and his Tiffany, where our guests covered all of this in detail, but we'll just brush it once again.
Yeah, we have a lot of sociological students who listen to our episodes. I don't know if I'll be very politically correct on this. So if I'm wrong in certain aspects, to write into us and, correct our
We
mistake.
apologize in advance.
We apologize in advance. So first, with regard to what gender is, so sex and gender are two terms which are confused quite often. Sex is basically the your physical attributes with which you are born with. Let's say if you have male reproductive parts, which would be a penis, then you're a man, or male. Your sex would be a male. And if you have female reproductive parts, you would be female. There are certain people who have both reproductive organs as well, and they are referred to as intersex. Now let's come to gender. Gender is something is a social construct. Let's say if you behave in a man,
It's how you identify yourself.
yeah, if you identify as a man, then then you are the gender of a man. Masculine is your gender. And if you have identify as a female, if your characteristics are female, then you identify as a female person. So
And there are many
feminine.
other
Yeah.
genders.
So exactly. So if your if your gender and your sex matches, like if you have male reproductive organs and you identify as a man, then you're a cisgender person. But if you're, let's say, a male reproductive organs but you identify as a female and there's a cross, then you're a transgender person. Then
Interesting.
so
Which and these things, and also sex and sexuality are two different things, right?
yeah, and sexuality is something different. Sexuality is what you're attracted to. So if I am attracted to the opposite sex, then I would be a heterosexual person. While if I'm attracted to the same gender,
I'm so glad that the only person out of all three of us who studied sociology, political science, history is the one who's explaining this. Because I would not have explained it any better.
I think Joe, you've done a tremendous job. Well done. Honestly saying, ऐसे नहीं कि तेरा टांग वांग खींचे, genuinely बोल रहा, फाड़ दिया.
let's hope people understand this a little better.
That is.
All right. So going into from the time you were born until now, right? So we've understood these concepts very recently. Obviously, you learned about it in class 11 and 12. I learned about it a little later, to be honest, and because we didn't have that kind of education. So how do you think now that you have an understanding of all this, where do you think you explored all these things as a child in a subconscious way? Like, were there different things that you did or should have done, or did you think you explored your sexuality adequately or not? Like, or did you conform to what people stereotyped male, female?
I have a very unique, I don't think it's a unique whatever. So the point is I have two elder sisters, all right? So this is something which my parents have told me. And I think this is where it started in a way. How I did not want to be called effeminate or a woman at all. I'll come to that. So when I was a child, I used to say मैं खाऊंगी, मैं जाऊंगी, मैं आऊंगी. Why? Because I had two elder sisters and I used to emulate whatever they used to say. मेरा आदत वैसा हो गया था, ठीक है ना? To the point then when I got corrected by my elders कि नहीं, it's खाऊंगा, तू लड़का है, खाऊंगा. Then later on there was and my hair was always long. ठीक है ना? So मेरा बचपन में ऐसे छोटू सा दो ठो ponytail होता था. And there was this particular picture of mine where my sisters put a frock on me. And like that, and I was looking like this cute little girl, ठीक है ना? So then जब मैं थोड़ा बड़ा हुआ, जब मैं वो फोटो देखता था, I literally once tore it apart. Like I tore कि नहीं, मैं लड़की नहीं हूँ, क्या है यो, ठीक है ना? I got all full macho because I was like, I'm a guy, so the concept came. Then you used to see all these movies, right? And you see what six-pack abs, Hrithik Roshan then was my favorite, still is my favorite. I used to see him and I used to go like, aisa body banana, aisa chahiye. So that's how I still have a man crush on him, bro. I will always have a man crush on Hrithik Roshan. Anyway, so that is how maybe in a way it kept going and going and going to the point I was like कि नहीं यार, ये तो थोड़ा weird, मतलब this is, मैं लड़का हूँ, मैं ऐसे हो ही नहीं सकता. Cut to class 11. I use a lot of body language, ठीक है ना? मेरा बहुत मैं हाथ पैर हिलाता हूँ बात करने के समय, because it's a part of how I speak.
पेट में मारता है मुझे ऐसे, पेट
में जो को मारता हूँ, बाकी लोगों को नहीं मारता. So there was this particular woman, this friend of mine, she said, Ishmeet, you have this is in class 11, okay? Ishmeet, you have a little bit of effeminate habits, like effeminate nuance. उस समय तो मेरे को effeminate का मतलब भी नहीं पता था, ठीक है ना?
Is this a friend or in school?
Yeah, she was a friend.
Okay.
Friend in tuition.
Okay.
ठीक है? Tuition में ही मेरी लड़की opposite sex वाली friends होती थी, bro. Anyway, she said effeminate. I was like, huh? And I took a lot of offense. I was like, ये कैसे तू बोल दी? I asked 5-6 of my friends who were of the opposite sex, am I effeminate? Because I thought they will understand it better. Am I effeminate? They're like, no, Shmit, you're not. So then it struck me कि नहीं यार मैं then फिर मैं realized कि एक दिन I for those 5-6 for that one day I was suddenly like, how can somebody call me effeminate? It's so bad. And then I remember I used to make fun of so there's my neighbor who has a little bit of an effeminate tendency, and I used to make fun of him. उसको I've been the kind of person who's called him छक्का as well. ठीक है ना, या तो लड़की है, ये है, वो है, and now I feel gutted about it. ठीक है, but ठीक है, anyway, I'll just keep going with my story. Then later on, I think sometime in college I realized कि even this lockdown I realized कि I really enjoy taking, using good amount of products. So like today morning I put multani mitti on my face. I think चमक दिख रहा होगा तुम लोग को, ठीक है ना? I put multani mitti on my face.
दिख रहा.
Anyway,
so what was the effeminate characteristic that person noted?
Poise, maybe थोड़ा बोलने का तरीका थोड़ा वैसे टाइप का. उसके बाद मेरे उससे बात नहीं होता है बंदी से, तो I don't know.
Okay, so sorry.
Wait, no, just
okay, fine.
Sexuality पे मैं आ रहा हूँ, थोड़ा उस पे आ रहा हूँ. तो फिर then I realized back in this thought of mine got confirmed during the lockdown period that I feel quite metrosexual. So metrosexual is somebody who likes doing certain things, which from what my definition of, from what I got to know, somebody who likes like going out to shopping a lot, doing a little bit of not cosmetic, like beauty things. Like I would love to get a proper manicure pedicure done, but I don't know. करना है मेरे को. I would love to go.
भाई मस्त है.
हाँ, I would love to. This is this dream of mine. मेरा बर्थडे आ रहा है, तो तुम लोग अगर कोई फैन को गिफ्ट करना है या नहीं, मेरे को जैसे लास्ट टाइम मिला था, top to bottom, from my hair to my feet, I want this one day full. I go in a spa, shampoo से लेके इधर manicure, pedicure, massage वसाज सब करा के मेरे को कराना है. And I love shopping as well. I love going out to buy stuff for myself. And very lately, I remember I used to make fun of Joyji. He wore harem pants. में तुम क्या लड़की जैसा कपड़ा पहने, remember? And now I'm somebody who loves wearing harem pants. मैं जो गोवा से लेके आया था, मैं हर समय घर पे नीचे उतरता हूँ, वही पहन के जाता हूँ. Maybe इतना comfortable नहीं हूँ मैं, but I enjoy doing all that. So I realized कि वो जो मेरे दिमाग में गया था, it started from my sisters and all of that. I used to really repel it, but then I later on, I think that's how maybe it was a rebellious behavior towards it, or it was a repulsion towards it. But then that's how I got to know about my sex, my gender. That's how I identified my gender, कि हाँ, I'm a male, and then that's how I got into it. So this is my story. I hope this made sort of sense. Yeah.
So couple of things. Firstly, what I noted was toxic masculinity definitely affected you. That entire notion of what males, a man is supposed to be macho. And secondly, just the fact that whatever this friend of yours who told you that you're a little, you have female characteristics in a way, it must have affected you, no? Like
I would
have been the same way. I was just like, can you imagine somebody tells you like this, and every time you do that, you're like always thinking about, oh, I should not do this. Why am I doing this? It's like, I remember Ishmeet said this during one of our podcasts. I said jokingly, Ishmeet, don't talk so much. And you told me also that time, it was like, don't tell me that, because then I'll stop talking. Like I'll be very conscious about it. And I think that is just human nature. It is like that. It's always going to be like that. It's like if somebody tells you, oh, you're like this, but you don't want to be identified like that, whatever character, you don't want that characteristic to be a part of you, then you'll be very conscious about it. You know?
Good one.
Whether you're talking about being cocky, being jealous, if somebody points that out straight up, in front of you, and you're like this, you'll be like, shit, am I really like this?
Yeah. It really hits you right here. Somewhere it really affects you.
And when you're young, you have this entire notion of, oh, these are bad things. These are taught to you in value education classes, bad values.
Not value education classes taught you by people
in
general, but I just put a name to it. But whatever, it's something that you kind of discover as you go, maybe, right? And you think that they're not good things to have, so you avoid those things.
एक और चीज है which happened very recently also. So all of a sudden, I don't know why. It's okay. This is could get a little personal. I don't know, but this is our podcast. So I suddenly, for the last 2 years, a lot of people have been telling me, Shmeet, your ass is too big for a guy. Okay. Listen to this, Rahul. This is actually, Rahul, put it on. This is actually a thing. Okay. This happened. I think I went on a trek. Okay, na? फोटो में कोई photo rather than somebody commented bubble butt. I remember she was this friend of mine, and since then I think people suddenly started noticing that I have a huge ass for a guy, including this Joe. Okay, Joe ko to anyway. So na, I'm telling you, I think until some time back I was genuinely conscious. I'm not even kidding.
1 second. I don't think you deserve to be talking about a big butt here.
Why? Who? Me? Him? Why?
You, Joy, because I mean, obviously it affected you as a kid with friends calling you big bum or whatever.
अपनी बात
Yeah,
he's
right.
talking about himself.
He's talking about himself. I know he's talking about himself, and I understand okay. Since this happened recently, and you're aware of these things, it's easier to get out of it. You know. Versus
Exactly. I
for
was
him,
coming to that.
for him being in class 9, 10 and
we used
knowing
to
that
call him
about
big bum.
yeah,
big bum.
being called big bum, it affects you. It's like, you don't know how to react. Being called fat, being called thin as young people. We talked about
listen, yeah, and I was like कि यार I got so conscious. मैं jeans नहीं, मैं तो मेरे को लग रहा था कि यार मैं actually बहुत अजीब लग रहा है. I literally stopped wearing 2 joggers because they were a little tight. Before that, I didn't even used to think. बट नाम लाइक भाई है क्या कर लेगा, हम कुछ तो नहीं कर सकता ना इसका, देखना है देखो, मत देखो जिस देन आई एम लाइक चिल, हाँ बहुत बड़ा है, क्या कर लेगा तुम. So I think, like Rahul, the point which you said, ki right now it's very easy for me to just like understand and take it in spirit and all of that. There was a time facial hair I did not have. I was like Sardar hai tu. This is another stereotype, like a toxic, मैं तू सरदार है, तेरी दाढ़ी नहीं है. To grow this much, it took me 23 years until what I think I was 20. I just had this pencil mustache. That even that, like personally, that played a huge role. People used to tell me, you're not built enough like a Sardar, you're not built like a Punjabi, and I eat like a bitch, you guys know, but kabhi effect hi nahi karta tha.
But solidly, Ishmit, great ass.
I know, baby, I know.
Okay. I really liked his story. Joyce, what do you think?
What, his story or my own?
Both.
Don't talk about
both.
His story, I get the trajectory. I had similar kind of trajectory in the beginning. Not similar in my own way. I had my own trajectory in the beginning. When I was a kid, I used to wear my sister's clothes, which inevitably were frocks. Okay, so I was this. All my childhood pictures are me in this frocks. So I grew up वैसे करके, तो I didn't have those very strong तू मर्द है ऐसा बनना चाहिए वैसा type. I was gradually into sports, so I did those, even inevitably I did those manly kind of things. I was into sport. I realized later on in class, I think 11, 12, first year college, that maybe I have thoda sa, effeminate tendencies. One major thing being that I like to even dress or wear certain things that maybe you would find in the women's section of the shopping store, which could be anything. Let's say it's something in हाथ में पहनने वाला, या it's something which is a like कुर्ता का अंदर जो ये होता है ना, पैंट क्या होता है, pajama, but pajama is that
it's called something different.
Yeah, but
cigarette pant, harem pant, stuff like that.
But if you wear the proper chudidar, which you wear salwar kameez, that also
the one that's baggy at the bottom is what you're talking about.
No, the one which is sticky.
Oh, okay.
Chudidar.
Yeah, even that looks damn good.
Isn't this chudidar?
No, chudidar is the pajama which is very sticking to your leg.
Okay.
Yeah, it collects at the bottom also. Yeah. So I like wearing that. So what I had few things my sister has, which I also wore, my sister's chudidar too, with my kurta on top. So those kind of things I experimented with, but it was like throughout in my first 2 years of college when I did that, I was like the junior most, right? So when I did these kind of weird atrangi kind of things, I got a little bit of flack from my other college friends or these seniors who were very, narrow.
It's gutsy, bro. It's very gutsy.
Yeah. So in that way, I explored so I realized I had these effeminate tendencies as such. And also one more aspect I still do, is that I'm open to checking out guys that are good looking. High five.
I think that is it's a good thing.
Yeah, but in the sense that what they wear and what really stands out is something like even I want to like emulate if I can, or which is like I can openly call a guy good looking if he dresses well, or if he does something that is thoda sa looks attractive. I'm open to the idea that a guy can look well dressed and he's attractive. I'm not like sexually attracted to him, but I admire the aesthetic
Yeah,
that he's trying to
Right.
develop.
I
I
see,
do
this
that.
is growth,
हम
you
लोग
know,
कितनी
from
बार
when you're
खुद किए
young.
हुए हैं जो हम लोग दोनों
हाँ,
खुद कितनी बार किए हुए चलते थे
वही
भाई
तो
क्या
तू जैसे
कपड़ा
बोलता है
पहन
वो, तू जैसे बोलता है वो ऋतिक रोशन इज अ बैंड क्रश ब्रो, आई फर्स्ट लव बोलते क्या भाई, बॉडी ग्रीक
एक्चुअली
गॉड है
हाँ
वो
यार
भाई।
भाई तुम लोग वॉर मूवी देखे हैं वॉर मूवी
हाँ,
कचड़ा था
वो
बट
इंट्रो
जब वो सनग्लास निकालता है ना भाई आई एम टेलिंग यू गाइस आई वाज इन दिस थिएटर इन बॉम्बे पीपल वर चीयरिंग सीटी मारे थे वो एंट्री मारा वानी कपूर आई कोई कुछ नहीं बोला बट
हाँ,
डैम ऋतिक रोशन फर्स्ट लव या
Little off topic, but I never understand why people maro CT when Salman Khan walks in
मेरे
to a scene.
भाई, भाई है
So I'm
भाई।
sorry, but anyway,
इंटर हम्म,
getting back, Ishmeet is staring up at the stars.
no my pizza is coming the Zomato guy punctured his tire anyway go on
पिज्जा डिलीवरी गाय is also Ishmeet, ideal match।
Late wherever he goes.
go
Anyway,
on, go on.
cool. No, that's
So
that's a good thing.
that's we finished our both stories। So, राहुल क्या
Bro.
सीधा
No,
linear?
bro.
Just one thing before we move on to Rahul Singh, Joel and all, like this trying out different kind of wear. Like, what do you guys think? Abhi, right now the generation is more woke, if that's the correct. More
If
aware.
I
I've
told
heard
ये
you,
this
सब chill
term,
है.
but I don't understand the meaning of woke.
More aware. Woke matlab more aware in
Okay.
more common lingo. So, do you think this is something which we'll see happening more in India? I'm just talking about in the Indian context. Bahar to it's fine. It's pretty chill there. But more, what do you think? Like more in the Indian context, like in our schools, in our colleges, our peers, do you think our juniors, do you think और chill होगा ये सब? होगा personally मेरे को तो नहीं लगता देख के. I still see like
मुझे भी नहीं
I still
लगता।
see people बहुत मजाक उड़ाते ही है. Pavit, my nephew who's 17, 16, even he's like not directly, but he's also said, I was like, bro, thoda.
See, it's
Try to explain it to him, but whatever.
I understand. It's a society you're brought up in also. So, okay, we are aware of this now, right? Our parents might not be. Our parents might still be, and until you're like 15, 16, 17, your parents have a very big impression on who you are and what you make of it, because you have those conversations with your parents mostly. If they don't believe in it, you might not believe in it. But it is people like us who have become aware maybe a little late, maybe at 20, 25, right? When our children grow up, these are conversations we'll have. But we need to realize that this knowledge, because of social media, etc., is being passed on to the younger generation far quicker. It's like people having cell phones when 25-year-old people used to have cell phones when we were very young. My mom barely got a cell phone when she was like 35 or whatever, 35, 37, right? Now people are getting it at 11 or even younger. Right?
Even if you
Awareness.
do have a cell phone,
No, I'm talking about cell phone is one thing, but I'm not saying that cell phone is going to give you that knowledge. But knowledge is being passed at a younger age. You learn things from people who are elder to you, always. Right?
Yeah.
And when we are passing on this information to people who are 15, say people start watching this podcast, they're aware of it. Okay? That awareness is being brought upon at least. So it will come with time, not now, maybe in 20 years, but slowly.
Yeah.
People will be more woke.
No, that's one aspect of it. That if that keeps coming, I think the other aspect that you need, I think, is courage, is the ability to stand up for yourself and like, this is what I am. I'm not saying courage in the sense of being a rebel, like just rebelling
standing
for
for
the
you,
purpose.
identifying and telling to the world ki boss main ye hu, basically.
Yeah, do your own thing.
That
Bro.
attitude.
But it's very difficult to have that. You need to have those kind of friends. It's like, I don't have it for certain things. I'll tell you that much.
I don't think even I have. तब ऐसा कुछ है नहीं मेरे पास करने को identify, but I don't even think I have. I think वो slowly develop होगा maybe. So whatever, but whoever's doing it, kudos to you guys. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job, and we need more people like you. हम लोग तुम्हारे साथ हैं.
In the sense of how it's difficult. Yeah, in the sense of how it's difficult, like even simple things, like I had this random tendency, and I don't know, Ishmit ko yaad hoga, like class 10, 9, 10, where I had this hat fascination.
Yeah, fedora, Joe and a fedora.
So yeah, I randomly, so the guts to put on that hat and walk outside the house, you require some balls to do that.
Georgiev came in a fedora and a harem pant and his green t-shirt, walk, jog, run, sprint, bolt. I remember. And he was walking from the auto stand. I was like, whoa, Joe, kya maal lag raha hai. Andarin, I was thinking, kya pehna hua hai, phaltu. But I'm glad, Joe, you did that. Like, high five. So the thing is, since I've seen one of my closest friends doing this now, it also helps you कि यार मेरा ये भाई किया है. तो कोई और को मैं देखूं तो ठीक है चलता है. That also I think plays a good, like if my best friend or if my close friend is doing it, then for me it's more normalized than if I see some random stranger doing it. So
Right.
you need friends like that as well. Rahul, अपना बता चल.
See, for me, a little different from you guys. So I started playing cricket when I was like 6. So like getting into sports was was always a thing. And being in the where we lived in the bungalow, we had a basketball area, we had a big garden, cycling, वगैरह. So sports were everywhere. Surrounded being able to do those things. So I picked up on sports. So it wasn't like consciously like I have to be a male, so I'm playing sports. It was never like that. Also, we need to credit the fact that we went to an all-boys school, so that also makes a difference. You do what people around you are doing a lot more. But I was very open with my emotions. You know how बोलते हैं मर्द रोते नहीं है. Bullshit.
You were open with your emotions.
Bro, I used to like cry at the drop of a hat as a kid. A lot. I was very emotional.
हाँ ये था ही cry baby, छोटा सा बच्चा.
So
Into.
you remember when in class 4 when Jonah used to make a lot of fun of me? Like, I used to take that to heart at that point. I used to feel very bad about it, like really bad about it.
Bad word, just
Jonah, if you're listening to this, very bad. By the way, Jonah was that time the fourth member in a group, the three of us and Jonah, और कोई नहीं था उस समय.
Aditya Prasanna Bhattacharya.
वो तो था.
But anyway,
Jonah तक ठीक है.
So Jonah was there, and Jonah was this guy who...
He was just a friend who moved away at the end of class 4.
Yeah.
Right? But in short.
Cool guy.
But cool guy. He was more aware of things than we were at that point in time. He had more exposure to older people. So he knew a few more things. Which I didn't. I learned the F word from him.
F word.
F word. Yeah, my sister said, she says, I've never said the F word. She's never said the F word at 17.
How? 17 तारीख तो हर sentence में निकलता था भाई.
Bro,
standing
the only time she said the word bitch is when it was in a song. That also she doesn't say half the time.
Which song was it? Sexy bitch. Damn. I doubt Ritika would listen to that song honestly.
I think it's Sexy Girl, no?
Like
Sexy Girl कर दिया उसको.
वो clean version था. हाँ.
But
अपन तो गंदा version सुनते थे. Econ वाला. mp3pk.com OG. Go on, Rahul.
Song.3pk.
Can I talk?
That's also like if you mess it up, that's also that site. But okay, fuck it.
Oh, this I did not know. Anyway, go on, Rahul.
Anyway, yes, thank you. So I was very open with my emotions. I used to cry about this. My mom knows. Like I used to cry in class 4, go back home and just be like very emotional about being made fun of, because I was never made fun of before that as much. Okay, so my mom was also like, like, be a man, like grow up a little bit, like you gotta, like that's where a little bit be a man came into play, like, boys don't cry. But fortunately enough, through time, yes, it reduced, but my emotions never reached a point where, it was like, oh, men don't cry. I'm still emotional, and it's not like I've had to make peace with it, or I have had to accept that. That's who I have always been, and I'm very happy to be that, which is I'm very thankful for. Like I can vocalize my emotions. I may not cry as much, but I vocalize them. If I'm feeling sad, I'm very happy, whatever it is, I'll vocalize it, or I'll show you what I feel.
Yes, yeah.
Expressing it. My facial expressions are like, they don't lie. Like they cannot lie. I'll tell you what I'm like. They show what I'm feeling, which I'm very happy about. It's not like I put myself into like a hole and be like, नहीं,
yeah,
रोते नहीं
something I think
boss कुछ बोल दिया तो रो दिया क्या?
Fuck be. I feel bad about it. If I feel overly bad about it, then I have my moments once in a month or two or something like that. I'm just like, just let out. Just let out.
HR के सामने जाके let out कर.
HR के सामने नहीं.
पैसा बढ़ेगा करना. No, but what this point Rahul said, guys, यार ये बहुत Rahul करता है, ये मेरे को पता नहीं, काफी true भी है. Like sometimes it's very should cry. I was telling Joe that day. Guys, just on a side note, I went to Joyji's place, I think last week, because I was ranting. I was just too frustrated with life. I'm like, "Bo, hum tere ghar aar humko rant karna bolta." We went to his terrace, and I just ranted for an hour. And I told him also, ki, bro, I tried crying, I'm not even kidding, Rahul. One day I was just so low. I literally went and I tried crying, but I haven't cried in.
I know. It's very weird.
And bro, I'm somebody who watches a movie, no bro. I cry like a baby, and I love movies that can make me cry. हम ऐसा movie देखा है जो I wanted to cry. मेरा आँख से आंसू नहीं निकला. I'm like, क्या हो रहा है यार ये? मतलब
Rock On.
I saw 500. Which movie I saw? I don't remember, but couldn't. I saw 500 Days of Summer. Okay, that day my heart broke. जब उसका वो काटी वैसे.
The last summer.
500 Days of Summer. काटी मतलब ठीक है, वो open to debate है. I could identify somewhere. I felt I identified with the guy, and I still could not cry. I was like, but anyway, yeah. So cry, guys. Just bottom line, row. It's important. You should cry.
Really
it's a stress
no
reliever.
What it is, man. Whether it's about your work, whether it's personal life, love life, जो भी हो, जा बाहर में जा, रो ले.
Ro. बहुत मजा आएगा.
Let out.
Let out, bro. Let out for sure.
A lot of puns being used here, but okay.
Yeah.
कचड़ा कर दिया ना यार.
Why?
Let's conclude. Then I think, guys.
This is Ishmael. Okay, Ishmael's thinking something. Then he types it out. He presses enter in the chat. He's like, "Let's conclude?" ? Then he says it out loud.
No. तुम लोग. अरे सुन, हम नहीं लिखने वाला, हम नहीं बोलने वाला था, but तुम लोग तो कर रहे थे, थॉट की कर देते बंद अब.
चलो बंद करते हैं, guys. So that was it. That's our discussion for this week. Yeah. Hopefully, you'll have learned something. Difference between sex, gender. Explore your gender identities. Have the courage to do different things.
And explore your sexuality. Like, just be open about it. Talk to people about it. If you don't understand,
and also
it, talk.
one more great thing that what people I think have problem with, or let's say if you have a gender identity or a sexuality which is different from the mainstream, it requires a lot of guts to really put yourself out there and be really truthful to yourself. I think what you are is actually very unique. You're different from the mainstream. I think you should be proud of that fact. And please open up and be honest about who you actually are. And if in case you require help, you can definitely reach out to any one of us. You can email 340@gmail.com. We can put you in touch with people, or in fact, there are many other organizations also that actually specialize in these things that we could put you in touch with.
Lots of forums, like Joy said, coming up. So you will, it's not like यहाँ पर, it's such a point in time that you will definitely find people you can identify with. There will be somebody who you can possibly vent out or just talk to. There'll always be a friend. Those are the times I feel right now. Positive step. So yeah.
So with that, do remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you're listening to an Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, you can leave a review now. And please leave a review, guys. It really helps us to, rank our podcast higher up so that more other 340ians come into the picture and listen to us.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll go grab my pizza. Good night, boys and all our beautiful listeners. Take care. Bye-bye.